It's not a secret that Boston is one of the most, if not the most, racist and racially segregated cities in the country. And no, I'm not just saying that because I hate the Celtics. A 2017 Boston Globe investigative piece found the city to be among the most unwelcoming to black people. The same paper released a survey back in 2015, and it revealed that while the median net worth of white Bostonians was almost $250,000, that number for blacks was a whopping $8. Yes, $8. That's not a joke. That's not a typo. $8. And for the last 200 years, the city has always had a white male mayor. But even with all of that, or maybe because of all of that, 4 out of the 5 candidates for the upcoming mayoral elections are women, and 3 of them are black. The 2 leading the polls are Asian American Michelle Wu and Black American Janey, who is the current acting mayor, filling the seat left empty when the former mayor, Marty Walsh, became the U.S. Secretary of Labor. Joining me now to help me understand this is, well, before I even say that, so we can almost say with certainty that the next mayor of Boston is going to be either a black woman or an Asian American woman. That's pretty dope. And if Kim Janey's elected, she'll be joining the elite group of black women mayors such as Tashara Jones of St. Louis and Lori Lightfoot of Chicago. I just want to put that out there, just exactly what's happening on the landscape right now. But joining me to talk about this and break down the rising trend of black women running major cities as mayors is a person who has helped many black women get elected, Kimberly Peeler-Allen. She's a visiting practitioner at the Center for American Women and Politics at Rutgers University. She's also the co-founder of Higher Heights. Good to see you as always. Help me understand, what happened in Boston? I remember when I couldn't even get a beer in Boston without being shook. I didn't want to go to the Celtics playoff game because of racism. Now all of a sudden the tide has turned so much that black and other women of color can actually be mayor? What happened?
Well, it's an amazing experience and an amazing opportunity. And what we're seeing is black women and women of color who have been holding up the city in so many different ways are stepping forward with this opportunity to become mayor because of the vacancy. And it's being ready for the opportunity whenever it presents itself. So kudos to all of these women who are stepping forward and doing so well in this race, that they were ready and willing and able. And also it's showing that their messaging transcends race and gender, that all issues are black women's issues. And it's really resonating with the people of Boston in ways that are, as you said, really shocking and surprising. But it just shows, really that black women and women of color have been put on the sidelines when they didn't need to be, because they were put in a box. And when you let them out of the box, then they can really lead. And I think the people of Boston are ready for that leadership. So I'm excited to see what happens in the primary in September.
Help me make sense of this a little bit more, though, because you made an important point, right? That their message cuts across the boundaries of race and gender, that they've managed to make it clear that all people are wrestling with these issues that black women are wrestling with. I'm with you. I hear you 1,000%. But that's always been the case. There's always been a reason to vote for black women. There's always been a reason for poor white people to see themselves as politically aligned with black folk and brown folk. But they didn't. They always voted against their interests, or they often voted against their interests. They often closed ranks around whiteness or maleness or whatever the thing was, other than, being with the vulnerable. Why in 2021 are they making a different choice? I'd love to say it's just great messaging, but it seems to me that some other tides are turning as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think what we're really seeing, and we're seeing it across the country, not just in Boston, but in your A block, you highlighted LaToya Cantrell, who's the mayor of New Orleans, and talked about San Francisco, where London Breed is mayor, and there's many others that are leading. And what we're seeing is that the electorate is hungry for new leadership. We have seen what almost 250 years of white male leadership has gotten us across the board, and saying, what, these are dire times, and we need to have new voices. We need to have new leadership. We need to have new experiences that have never been part of the conversation before, to be at the table and actually at the head of the table, setting the priorities for our communities across this country.
Can we say Boston has the possibility to serve as a microcosm to understand the national trend of electing Black women mayors in major cities?
Absolutely. It's really an exciting thing to have two Black women who are running in this race and really seeing how in a majority white city that these women have stepped forward and that their message is really resonating and that they're really being able to get a lot of traction in this opportunity because of the fact that the tide is turning. People are seeing what we have lost by not including Black women's leadership and are seeking it out. And then these women have been ready. And they've been ready for decades to step into this opportunity. And so there's a plethora of candidates, which is really, really thrilling. And, I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
9 Black women mayors in major cities and counting, not to mention mayors of smaller cities like Buffalo, New York, are in play. In your estimation, how does the future of this trend look? Will it inspire other women to run successfully for office?
It already is. And this is a trend that has been growing since 2014, where we had 3 Black women mayors, and now we are at 9 in less than 10 years, which is really, really exciting. We're really seeing this as an opportunity to grow leadership. Black women across the country are seeing women stepping forward, stepping into their power, stepping into their leadership and saying, I can do this too. And there is a pathway forward. And then we're also remaking what leadership looks like and saying it doesn't have to be a white man who is affluent. It can be a Black woman. It can be someone who has struggled in their life, someone who has had a wide variety of experiences. And that just adds to the richness of what they bring to their leadership and the amount of experiences that they include when they are making their decisions, because they know what it is to struggle. They know what it is to walk at the intersection of race and gender and have to deal with sexism and racism at the same time. So the policies that they create are definitely reflective of those life experiences, and the electorate is hungry for that. And we're really going to see a continued growth of Black women, not just running for mayor, but we're seeing a bunch of women running for the U.S. Senate, Black women running for the U.S. Senate. We have many candidates running for governor. We have never had a Black woman governor in our nation's history. So we're really building on this tremendous momentum that has been growing really for probably the past 10 years, but has really taken a spike over the last 5. And the sky's the limit. And people are saying we need to work towards parity, and Black women are 7% of the population. We're already ahead of that in terms of our nation's largest cities. So the sky's the limit. The opportunities are there. And it really is an opportunity to bring all people in this country to the table and really be able to lift as many boats as possible.
Well, that sounds absolutely powerful. As an idea, it sounds incredibly encouraging. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed so that we see these races play out successfully, not just in Boston and not just in Buffalo, which should be a victory, barring something extraordinary, although her primary opponent is looking to do something extraordinary in the general by running as a write-in candidate. I think that we can move beyond those cities and say, look, we could have Stacey Abrams in Georgia as a governor. We can have an elected Black woman as senator in a bunch of states around the country. We can do this. Black women have the ability to lead. Now, I think as a community, it might be helpful strategically and ethically for us to put our energy behind not just electing more Black candidates, but being very intentional and specific and saying we want Black women to be our next elected leadership everywhere.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
Well, that's what I like to hear. I love when guests do that. Kimberly, thank you so much for your insightful comments. You made this so clear to us and so exciting and energizing to think about the possibilities of our future. Everybody, join the conversation. We want to hear from you as well. Head over to our BNC Instagram and Twitter pages. Let us know how you feel. Also, visit our website, bnc.tv, and subscribe to our YouTube page to check out clips from the show. Coming up next.